We will count down for Metro 3. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the newly relocated Transportation and Infrastructure Committee for the Tuesday, January 4th, 2022 meeting. I'm feeling 22. Hoo-hoo. Thank you. Thank you. I will be here at least till the end of the term. Before we begin the agenda items, I do believe that Director Potter and maybe Mr. Honeysucker wanted to talk trash to us. So, gentlemen, the floor is yours if I turned it on correctly.
So Mr. Honeysucker is going to give us an operational update, and then I'll answer any questions that y'all may have.
I will definitely make it exciting today. Thank you all so much for allowing us to come and give you a weekly update or a bi-weekly update. From an operational standpoint of waste services, from our front load equipment, we currently have, we're running about 7% operational readiness with that. From a rear loader standpoint, we're running at about 47% operational. Our side load operations are running at about 50%, and our roll-offs are running at 18%. Again, General Services is doing everything they can to try to get the equipment up and running, but with the pandemic, the lack of parts, that's not just here, that's worldwide, and the lack of having employees, it is putting a strain on the fleet services to be able to have a fleet up and running to where we need it to be. We are working with, along with the administration and the council, to try to work on a solution to expedite this process very quickly. And I don't want to get into that part. I'll let Mr. Potter talk more about that.
Good afternoon, everybody. I wanted John to kind of lead with that because the core, the root problem is trucks availability. It's the root problem for Red River. It's the root problem for us, and I think that's going to be the root cause going into the future, especially in the short term. Last week, we met with General Services and the Mayor's office, and we went through each truck, its status as to why it wasn't available. And each truck was in a position where there was nothing else that could be done to accelerate its availability, in that either the truck was waiting on a part, it was waiting on a base space, it was waiting on a technician, or it was waiting on diagnostic. So there's no reason for any form of frustration as far as effort, because I think General Services is doing everything they can to get the trucks back on the street. We're working with the administration presently to see how we can either purchase vehicles more quickly or rent them in the short term. But the summary is, when we get more trucks, we'll be able to get more services, and that's just where we are. So I'll entertain any questions that y'all may have.
Well, quickly, I had, since our last meeting, I had a member of the public ask me if they were asking me about, rear loader, side loader, the operational effective readiness and whatnot. I think we talk about it a lot and we understand what that is, but could you give a quick rundown, I guess, is what that means to a Metro resident as far as if we're at a lower level of operational readiness of a rear loader, what does that mean?
Mr. Honeysuckle will break that down for you.
Thank you. So when I talk about operational readiness, one example, currently we have 10 front loaders that are assigned to waste services. That's 10 that are assigned to for this municipality. Currently, the ones that are assigned, that are Metro assigned, we have 0 in operations right now.
And the front loaders are used for?
They're picking up your dumpsters, the maybe just the forks come in.
At parks and drop-off sites, or?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Some of those. Now, on the other hand, we do have some front loaders. Those are the rental trucks that we currently have. We have 3 of those that we're utilizing from Big Truck Rental. that are in operations right now. When I talk about rear loaders, and we currently have 18-yard rear loaders. We have 34 of those assigned. 16 of those are in service. That means that are operational. So that gives us the 47% operational readiness in that regard, in that category. For the
Rear loaders are used for residential pickup.
rear loaders, that is correct.
Yes.
And there's an 8-yard rear loaders, which is used for residential pickup also. We have 5 of those that are assigned to us. 3 of those are in service, which gives us a 60% operational readiness for that particular model. The side loads, which are used for your recycle, and we're currently using for trash, 28-yarders, we have 24 of those assigned. 14 of those are in service, which gives us a 58% operational readiness. We have a 6-yard side loaders. We have 8 of those assigned. 4 of those are in service, which gives us a 50% operational readiness. For the roll-offs, which are the ones that goes around and pick up the big containers from the convenience centers and the recycle drop-off centers, we have 11 of those that are assigned. 2 of those are in service right now. That gives us an 18% operational readiness. But we also have rental trucks and I'm trying to think of the word. We have an additional group of staff members that we have contractors in, that we're utilizing also at the roll-off sites.
Thank you, Mr. Honeysucker. I think, you know, we understand what we mean by rear loader. I want to make sure the public understood. I think Councilmember Bradford had a question. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I don't know if Director Potter or Mr. Honeysucker can answer this one or if this is general services, but, you know, today and yesterday you mentioned part of the issue is not just parts, but it's personnel to help fix and install these parts. Have we currently or looking at maybe working with some of our technical colleges here in town to, you know, invite them to send their students over for college credit or credit towards career, kind of help offset any issues we have with staffing?
Councilman, I don't know the answer to that question. I'll have to defer that to general services.
If we can get that answer, I think that's something we need to be looking into for not just this, but for other issues. I think it'd be a great opportunity for us to work with some of our technical schools to solve our issues and give them a little help along the way. Thank you.
Councilmember Nash is. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it's also important for the public to know, because we've all gotten the email, well, we just got this big tax increase. I think it's very important to know that that tax increase is helping the situation and that we have money now where we can replace the trucks, rent the trucks and the like. We just can't get the trucks now. And part of the reason we're in the situation we're in, we find ourselves buying new police cars. We find ourselves having to come up with more equipment for the fire department. When you have budget crunches like we went through prior to the tax increase, what do you put off always? Well, if you can hold that, make that truck work one more year, we're going to keep it. And we've gotten to the point where a lot of them are just run down, period. And so I would ask the public to be patient, because everybody is doing everything they can as quickly as they can to get the garbage trucks rolling again and get some decent equipment back in here.
Further committee questions, comments? All right, Director Potter, Mr. Honeysucker, we thank you for your continued work to try and get the trash picked up. Moving on, I am going to try and tackle quite a bit of our agenda this afternoon via consent agenda. I'm going to read off what I have proposed to be on that, and then y'all let me know if there's anything you'd like to pull. Beginning with resolutions, RS 2022-1320, 1321, 1322, bills on second reading, BL 2021-1053, 1054, and 1055. Would anyone like to pull any of those from the consent agenda? If not, I will go ahead and read the bills and the caption and the resolutions. RS 2022-1320 Van Reese, Allen, and others approves Amendment 1 to an agreement between the Tennessee Department of Transportation and the Metro Department of Transportation and Multimodal Infrastructure for the acceptance of work in connection with the construction of Hart Lane from east of Whitney Park Drive to near State Route 6 in Davidson County. RS 2022-1321 Withers and Young authorizes Eastwood Deli Company LLC to construct and install an aerial encroachment at 1896 Eastland Avenue. RS 2022-1322 O'Connell Withers and Young authorizes Bootleggers Nashville LLC to construct and install an aerial encroachment at 207 Broadway. BL 2021-1053 Withers and Young adopts the Geographic Information System street and alley centerline layer with a recording of renaming, additions, and deletions of acceptances and abandonments as reflected on the centerline layer to date as the official street and alley acceptance and maintenance record for the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County. BL 2021-1054 by Sledge approves an agreement between the Metro Government, CSX Transportation, and Nashville Phase 2 Property Holder LLC for the construction of roadway and quiet zone improvements at the Chestnut Street and 4th Avenue South Railroad crossings. And last but not least, BL 2021-1055 Hurton Taylor provides the honorary street name designation of Charles Dungy Way for a portion of 40th Avenue North. Is there a motion on the consent agenda? A motion in second. All of those in favor? Those opposed? The consent agenda passes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm counting 9. All right. Now, back to resolutions. RS 2022-1311, Gamble, Johnston, Allen, and Young appropriates $15 million in American Rescue Plan Act funds from Fund Number 30216 to the Metro Development Housing Authority to improve infrastructure at Casey Place and to increase safety at Cumberland View. Council Member Johnston or Allen, would y'all like to be recognized for this?
Sorry, I wasn't prepared to speak on it. This is, I probably need someone else to help me, actually.
That's fine. We can, okay, we can defer to MDHA if you'd like.
Yeah, let's do that.
I see them back there.
Perfect. Sorry.
MDHA, come on down to the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. What a treat. I feel like we wouldn't have you here normally. You want to give us a brief synopsis of what we've got?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone. A brief synopsis is this is a $15 million ARP request, $7.5 million of which is a sewer separation project that will affect over 800 units in the new Casey site. So if you think about our headquarters at 701 South 6th Street all the way to Shelby Avenue, that whole area will be affected by a mainline sewer separation project. So the $7.5 million is half of that. The other half is coming from the water department. So we've got that piece worked out. $5.8 million is for water, sewer, roads, and the infrastructure that is over at Boscobel 4, Boscobel 5, Boscobel 6, 5th and Summer. So it is part of the plot that has already been approved by planning. And then $1.7 million is for safety upgrades over at Cumberland View. Prior to me joining MDHA as the executive director, we had some security issues there, and $1.7 million of this would go toward traffic calming, additional lighting, some ballard work, sidewalk work that is woefully needed in that area. So that's the high-level request to the Transportation Infrastructure Committee.
All right, committee members, do we have questions, comments, any input? Seeing none, do we have a motion? Motion in second. All those in favor? Those opposed? We recommend approval. 9 in favor, 0 against. Thank you, MDHA. That brings us to RS 2022-1324, Allen and Young. It authorizes the Metro government to enter into an agreement with the City of Brentwood for the sale of water. Councilmember Allen, I think this is just our an admin bill, but all right. Any discussion? All right. Councilmember Allen moved approval. All right. Those in favor? Those opposed? All right. Now to bills on second reading, BL 2021-1010 by Glover. It amends the Metro Code of Laws relative to operation of entertainment transportation vehicles. And at the request of Councilman Glover, he would like to defer one meeting. Do we have a motion to that effect? All right. All those in favor of deferring for one meeting? And those opposed? And ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the January 4th, 2022 Transportation Infrastructure Committee. Unless anyone else has any questions, comments, riddles, or concerns, we will stand or sit adjourned. It's your choice. Thanks for tuning in.